Jake, we're back with Disruption, man. It feels so good to be here. I love it. We got a hot episode for you today. It's trending around the world in our entrepreneurial bubble and in the world of business strategic partnerships. And I kind of think that's a load of crap. Strategic partnerships. It sounds fake, but it's like a trending topic. It sounds dishonest. Like I'm only partnering with you, Jake, because my strategy is to use you for something. But that's not it. Like when we talk about strategic partnerships, you have to have a reason, whether it's personal, professional, or a hybrid, to be partners with somebody, right? And you want to leverage the strategy, right? And you want to understand how they're leveraging you. So I'm talking strategic partnerships. Do I sound like I'm just full of it, or what do you hear when I say strategic partnerships?
Nobody succeeds alone.
Okay,
Totally
join
hear that.
me.
Nobody succeeds alone. But you touched on something which I think is really true, and I think the audience finds it true too. Is you're okay when a strategic partner is mutually beneficial to both parties. You're gonna know it. You're
Okay.
also gonna know if it's a usury. There's a word, usury. If you're being used or you're trying to use somebody else because you're trying to sell it. It's one sided. It's a
I
one
don't.
sided deal. Like
I'm not sure that's
you
what
hear the
usury means, but okay.
well, probably not. I don't even know that that's the right word. I think that's fair, but like you're
Usury.
being used. Yeah, I know there's a piece for that. I get it. But that from the point of like strategic partnerships or collaborations or joint ventures or affiliate partnerships, there's a bucket load of buzzwords when it comes right down to it. But I'm going to go back to with what I said in the very beginning. If we focus on how we actually make these work and they are a win-win, they're mutually beneficial, everybody gets out of it what they want to, right? That's where we want to go with this. That's our intention with what we built at Disruption, is that mutual benefit so that both of us are going where we want to go. So part of that, Mike, is one, if let's say Mike and I, let's use Mike and I as the example. Mike and I are a strategic partnership. We are a collaboration. That is where we are. We split the financial responsibilities of everything that we do 50-50. We are, choosing what events we go speak at. We spend the same amount of time doing all the stuff and the things. We mutually benefit from the experience. Mike has a perspective in the universe. I have a perspective in the universe. We're able to collaborate collectively on that. There's what's the word out of Star Wars I'm looking for? Midi-chlorians and people. I'll have to think about that one. Like I just
DNA?
caught that. Yeah, right. Call it the Force. I don't care, but there's an actual like medical word for it. But that's a mutually beneficial. So this is where I will say Mike and I are a collaboration and we are a strategic partnership. Now, Mike and I are in a joint venture, and that has a different meaning, a different thing. That's something different. We're not an affiliate, and we'll go there.
Let's get there. Let's get there later. But I think I made a crappy move here. I should be somehow strategically using you for like a 70-30 thing, right? Like I should be like somehow getting you to do 70% to 80%, and I should be getting the 50% of the rev share. So somebody needs to teach me manipulative skills or hypnotism or something so I can create a little bit better strategic relationship that benefits me. All jokes aside. So yeah, it's a strategy, right? And they often say, I'm almost glad you and I don't like sort of reside in the same area. Otherwise we'd be hanging out all the time and we would see too much of each other. So strategically it benefits us to have a little space and be able to gain different perspectives from, sort of my East Coast and then your Midwest, West Coast style, even though we both work with everyone across the country, but our day-to-day influences outside of our profession are sort of local, right? We're not jet setters. And I think it's important when you talk strategic relationships and strategy, having a plan. And then having a plan of give get and understanding in a relationship at some point one's going to be a little one-sided. But if you have that range, like every partnership that I get into, not like this one, but every partnership that I get into, I'm looking 25 years down the road. I might
Mm-hmm.
I might utilize, you know, first 2 years, take about 3 years off, 2 years again, you know. So for example, right, let's talk about the step and repeat, the banner behind you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we used a friend of ours, and he'll be on our vendor page here soon on our website. But he's got great prices, but it's not something we use all the time. We talk to him all the time, but we're not using him. But the strategy is there. We give him referrals, we get preferable pricing. It's a strategic partnership. And we know him, we trust him, he's super dependable, right? I know that sounds minuscule, but if you don't have those things sourced, I feel like I feel like people waste time and they try to cultivate relationships out of thin air, doing a whole lot of research, spending a whole lot of resources, and there's no real governing idea. Once you set somebody up and you're clear about parameters, where's the expectations? So, why don't do you have an example of a strategy? I mean, we use Tommy in the with logo zone in the back there. Why don't you give us an example of something that you call a strategic partnership? Maybe not even in business. What do you have like in your own world over there in the Steve Ho Bill
Well, the
my
easy
rant
one
world?
on that is my director of operations, right? And that's Krissa, and she is in the background doing crazy amounts of work. When Mike's talking about 70-30, like in my universe, Chris is doing 80% of the heavy lifting when it comes to the admin side of things. And that's her role. Don't get me wrong. We have an employee, employer, leader, follower kind of relationship. And it's still a partnership because it's not a do the thing that I tell you to go do it. I'll give you an example. Earlier today, and I've always given Chris a permission on this. So recording some new content, doing some new vlog pieces, and I sent her the vlogs and said, "Hey, I want I value your opinion on this. I don't want to know what the audience thinks about this. I don't know what you think about it. Like, how do you feel about it?" And she had some critical feedback for me, which was really good, quite honestly. But that's that strategic alliance, that strategic partnership that her and I have established over years of working together, to where if I'm doing something dumb that she flat sees it, she's going to be able to call me out on it and say, "All right, man, no, I'm going to call you on that one." To me, that's a partnership. To me, that's accountability. To me, that's a little bit of love, in the regard that, she is sure we have I stroke her checks. That's fine, but that's not our relationship. Our relationship is she doesn't ever want to see me fail. Like, she refuses to see me fail. She will push me to places that, quite honestly, a lot of times I'm uncomfortable. But I also know that's where I've got to go. So we've got that. When I think about that too, and Mike does the same thing to me all the time. Mike triggers me on different things, like, and that's a weird word to use in trigger, but like, that's the reality, and that's where our partnership comes to life. Is Michael asked me a question I had not previously considered. I'll march down a specific road and Michael throw out a question that'll cause a new thought process. So that's where I would tell you a lot of these, so Tommy, I would almost say, is more of a strategic affiliation versus a partnership or a relationship. We've got that established, and I love Tommy. Tommy's cool. It's established, and we know we can rely on him, and he is a leverage tool we can use. Are we at the point in the relationship with Tommy we would say, "Hey, man, we're going to send you a copy of the show and we want you to edit it. We want you to go through there and audit and tell us what we're doing in this"? Probably not. maybe not. So it just depends on what's the level of the relationship that you have, the level of trust that you have. So I think that's where some of that comes in. So like as I separate those two out, Mike, like obviously like you and I have one level, Chris and I have a level, and I would say that we have a level with Tommy. I would categorize those in three different spaces. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Again, we're sort of in this rabbit hole of how to work it, but you need these. And in my opinion, this is what I do, right? 'Cause I know we're not quite at the kind of coaching section of the day, but while we're talking about this, you want to have a spot where you literally, whether it's your contacts, whether you have a subset, like in my phone, I have somebody listed as vendor partner, put a name behind them. Um, and you want to have an index. You can just take a look. Your times are a little slow. Guess what? Flip through your strategic relationships and start checking in with people. Let them know what you're doing. I know that's a little old school, and it's not sort of leveraged media or an email campaign. But man, pick it
Yeah.
up. What's going on? How have you been? What's the pulse of the universe out there? You're thinking about launching a new product. It's literally right on the phone. Right on the phone, you can have that set up. And I can't stress enough to people, these partnerships, regardless of how superficial or deep they may run, are a true lifeblood in business. If you can't
Oh,
have a group of peers to be able to validate you in certain situations, you're on an island. You need a testimonial, hit up one of your professional friends. Hit them up. Sure, I'll do it,
mhm.
man. Whatever. I got you. So there's all kinds of ways to leverage strategic partnerships. Now, really quick, Jake, before we get into anything else, I'm thinking we need to talk about battleground, and we need to dip a little into the inner circle. Let's bring people into our world, right? So you know, we do this. This is fun. You can get a lot of content out of this. But if you really want to get that acceleration that you've been looking for, that transformation and that experience, that peer group, if you want next level strategy in your relationships and your business battleground, inner circle, the guild, you pick your poison. What level of involvement you want to go, how fast you want to go, right? Slow, faster, fastest, right? Or should I say
It.
fast, hyper fast, jet launch rocket to the moon? Guild, inner circle, battleground. Why don't you elaborate, Jake?
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time in the last year working through a lot of these things and creating solutions for all of our coaching clients, both corporate, entrepreneur, business owners, startups, take your pick, and just what they need from a resource standpoint. It started with the Guild, which is just a mountain of DIY stuff. There's a mountain of DIY stuff, and you've got engagement with the community there to be able to, start to move forward. And the truth is, the Guild was never enough, and it's not enough for Mike and I. And this is where I will ask you, if you're in a room full of business owners, do you feel seen? Are you visible? Do they know who you are? Does anybody have a clue what you do? If you even went well to a little bit of it, if the answer is people know, if unless you can say people know what I do, they know who I am, they know when they can get there, they know what my product is, and I have a badass business. If you can't say that, you're invisible. You are
Well,
invisible. No, I'm saying it, man. If you even use the word,
well,
well, maybe, yeah, man. If you're on the fence about that, you're invisible. I can't see you. Like literally, this is I can't see you. Like, how do you get
well.
visible?
I was almost saying that, man. I'm like, shit, did I just say that? Or did he say that? Is he
Right?
talking to
You
me?
heard it. I know. And so that's the deal, guys. You have a choice. You can sit on the fence. You can keep being the best kept secret. You can keep laying on that. I'm all by myself, and that's why I can't do it. That's crap. Like, you can come with us. Come with us. Total-disruption.com. It's right there. We got just about every conceivable alternative and option to make your business visible, make you seen, so you get the recognition you need. That's what this is about, and that's what we built.
Sweet. A ghost just opened the studio door. Isn't that crazy?
I see that. It's a little windy at your house.
It is. I better shut this door. Oh, let's see. Can I shut it? All right, good. All right, here we go. So back to our regularly scheduled program. All right. Anyway,
Right.
despite
Ghost
ghosts
free,
and
by the way. We're not haunted at all.
no, no, I'm actually haunted. So as we blow down this line here, we brought up something called strategic partnerships and affiliates. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about leveling up partnerships. Okay, so if you're an entrepreneur and you have a business, and I know this sounds like 101, but it really, we need to talk about it on a massive level. When I had a fitness business and I was a solopreneur, and then I grew my business to about 6 or 7 subcontractors, I needed referral sources that were quality and regular, that were low cost. So what I did was I got involved in what we call client adjacent relationships. Physical therapists,
Okay.
chiropractors, orthopedists, doctors. I was clean and clear about what I do and what I don't do, what I'm looking for. And what I did was I rallied about 15 to 20 different sources that I hit up every week. Every week. It wasn't dropping business cards off. I'm schmoozing office staff. I'm calling. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to people. I'm texting. It again, you're going to pay for leads one way or the other. You've got to ask, right? Let's just back up a minute. You have to ask. You got to figure a way to get more business. Either you're asking your clients, you're asking your referral sources, or you're asking via paying for advertising. So what I did was I had 20 plus people regularly referring me, and now that's a better quality lead. So that's what we call influence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Influence. You have to take a pencil to it, to quote the Greg Zig Ziglar. You have to take a pencil to it, write it down, and say, who could I actually sit there and call upon? But one caveat: be ready to have this is what I want to do with you. This is what I want you to do for me. And then, boom. I'm going to give another example. Let's hear what you have to say, Jake. I'm going to give somebody another example, a current one, and then let's go from there. So when I kind of talk about influence, what do you plus one that? Like, go somewhere else with that.
Yeah, I heard you say a couple really good things that I want to go back to. So you started out earlier and you said this. You said give to get. I think that's critical, right? And it's the order in which you said it. It's give to get. What am I going to be able to give such that I'm going to get something back? We're not automatically just showing up and saying, this is what I expect to get. And if I get that, maybe I'll give you something. When you say give to get, you're showing up with a servant's heart. Our buddy, Steve Ramona talks about this all the time. So I think that give to get is really critical. And you said you got to be able to have that speech. You got to be able to be ready to have the conversation. Give to get. Show up prepared with that give to get speech. The other thing, and I found incredible power in this over the years, the gatekeepers, as we used to call them. Like from sales, you call them gatekeepers. These are the front office staff. You say you're schmoozing the front office staff. There is amazing power, amazing relationships to be made with the gatekeepers. Because when and I call them what you want to call them, it's sales perspective. So I'm going to get letters, I know. But the reality is, who actually, like you go to a PT's office, who actually runs that office?
Office
At the front
manager.
desk.
Yeah.
It's the gal at the front desk that runs that office. She knows everything that's going on everywhere. She is the information download center. When you have a great when you have a great relationship with that person, chances are you're getting meetings with the PTs. Chances are they're going to give you referrals of the other physicians that are referring to that clinic. Like, think about it. It's not just I'm using this example, it's not just the therapist, it's not just the office manager. The importance of the staff, much like I talked about Carissa early, the importance of the staff, like they're the reason the office runs. Sure, the therapist does the thing, and the office manager keeps the cats kind of wrangled, but every single person has a critical function. So that, I love when you said, and schmooze is one of my favorite words. One of my clients from New Jersey used to love it when I'd say that.
It's my
But
Yiddish.
that's the Yiddish. It's a great word. That particular piece is like, you find out, here's the trick. And I used to do this. It's a sales thing. Find out what the front office gal guy likes in coffee and or sugar. Like, plain and simple. Like, if they are they want cronuts and they want a double macchiato, triple shot espresso, you find that out and you show up with it. You are now somebody they value. Plain and simple. It's not hard stuff, guys, but that's how you start to build those relationships. Not just, it's got to be strategic first, or it's got to be affiliate, or it's got to be, collaborate relationship. It's got to be the relationship first, much like where Mike said it's give to get.
Yeah, well, give to get. So you and we just had a great time. We talked about this one of our other episodes. We just had an awesome event in San Diego, and we are doing the legwork to try to develop a strategic relationship on purpose. Well, guess what? I spent the entire week going, okay, how can we give? I don't expect to get, but how can we give? And I did just that several times this week to our friend, who is now a friend of the show. I gave several quality referrals, and here's how I did it. And this is just another, since we're at this part of the day, a newer thing I learned from another friend of mine is, if you use Facebook Messenger and your friends, you can actually message two people and do a voice introduction. Pretty powerful. Let me just kind of break this down a little bit before we go into other kinds of relationships here. You take yourself, the person you want to introduce, you add somebody to that group, and then you click that little microphone and you say, hey, this is Mike, meet Bill, meet Max. I want you guys to connect. You guys are two amazing people on the same path. I feel like this is going to be a fruitful connection. I'll leave you guys to connect. Boom, done. That's it. There's your template. There's your hack. It's powerful. When people do it for me, I can go back to it. I can listen to it again. It makes me feel so good. You've got now visual, you've got audio, and then you've got some tactile going on. It's not just about text. And you've actually got to take a second.
Boy. He's
Right?
playing modalities on connectivity. Look at Mike go today.
That's it, buddy. I had my nootropics before this, so I'm like on the next level. Anyway, so that's what it does for me. Now, the downside of doing audio is if you're not in an environment you can always listen. You got to make some time there. But so what? You might not be in the same environment you can read either. Audio is the way, in my opinion. I mean, this is just me giving you guys some insider tips here for free, for the hell of it, because I love you guys so much. But when you actually go through these processes, text introduction, cool, it's intimate. Now you have somebody's cell phone. Great. Email, lost in the sauce. Messenger, powerful. The new medium. You can check if someone's seen it. It's cool. You can not clog up somebody's inbox. It's a wonderful tool. So, all right, now we talked about that. Do you have any hacks or tricks that you use while we're at it before we start talking JV? And
yeah, relationship wise. So I love where you're going with the audio, text, and messenger, and that's serious +1 stuff, Mike. That's using Messenger as a CRM, as a contact resource management system. Like, that's usually literally using a free tool that everybody on the planet has access to. Like, what are we, 1 degree of separation now because of social media? But using Messenger as a CRM tool, that's all kinds of hack. The only one that I would say that would be a +1, and this is something I used to do all the time, Facebook gives you the opportunity, because it knows everybody's birthday. You can cheat and you can do what everybody else does, and you just tag it and click the happy birthday button, and they know it. You sort of kind of tried. Or how many birthdays do you really have? I might get like 3 or 4 a day, on average. Of hey, Mike's got a birthday today, Jake's got a birthday, Stacy's got a birthday, Chris has got a birthday. Here's your +1 that you can tie into that from a relationship maintenance standpoint. Send a personal video, 10 seconds. Hey, Mike, I was thinking about you today. Saw it's your birthday on Facebook. Happy birthday, man. Have an amazing day. That's it. It's all it needs to be. Because here's from a human development standpoint. We all want to be recognized. We all want to be missed. We all want to be seen. We all want to be appreciated. So like, do those little things. And this is like that personal touch of taking the half a second, like, okay, 5 seconds, maybe. Hey, Mike, I want to introduce you to Jake. I'll let you guys take it from here. I think you got a great thing you'll be able to do. That is a brilliant personal touch that creates relationship that then develops, give to get, develops into, could be a strategic relationship, partnership, collaboration, affiliation, and we're going to roll into the last minute or so here, joint ventures. So that's you got to build the relationship first, and then the business happens. Not business first, relationship first.
So yeah, real quick. I mean, we might need to punt this to an extra episode, but
we might.
We're running really tight on time. So JVs, right? Joint venture agreements. Joint venture agreements are typically a prearranged situation where two people collaborate for either a financial or a service transaction, and or a co-project. So you JV with a physical therapist. Okay, I'm going to joint venture with you. I'm going to refer you people, and you're going to give me 20%. I'm going to refer you people, you're going to give me 10%. That's a borderline affiliate, but a JV is a joint venture. You're joining somebody, you're actively referring them, you're getting a little bit of commission, and they're probably going to turn around and do the same in kind, right? In kind, it's a financial relationship where two companies join, go to a venture, and there's typically financial. I would rather see a financial joint venture agreement than a barter of service. Barters are very, very tricky. If you've got a barter of service agreement for a joint venture, and okay, let's do a trade. I'm always trade plus cash or something. You got to have a little skin in the game, or you've got to quantify what the trade is and what the timeline is. After a while, it's like, okay, great. We're going to joint venture. I'm going to give you $7,000 worth of services. Expires in 40 days. You have to use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. What do you think about that, Jake?
Be a timestamp. Love that. Love it's got to be a timestamp. Totally agree with you.
So in the last 30 seconds to a minute, we'll expand on this next episode. What do you think, man? Let's go. Let's talk quickly. What do you see, JV?
I think it's not mutually exclusive. It's mutually beneficial. Whether it's, I'm going to create $5,000 for Mike. Mike's going to create $5,000 for me. That's joint. I'm going to create 100 leads for Mike. Mike's going to create 100 leads for me. That's joint. If it is, I'm going to create $5,000 for Mike, and Mike's going to have mentioned my name once or twice or maybe, send it out in an email. That's more affiliate. So I look at it as a joint venture as a 50-50. And it is a financial, but we don't necessarily have for the work. I might do a lot more work to generate $5,000 for Mike than Mike doesn't have to do as much work to create $5,000 for me.
Right. All right. Well, why don't we table that? We're out of time. Why don't we pick up where we left off on our next episode of Total Disruption? Jake, take us away, man. You have anything to say?
Go to the website, total-disruption.com. Like, click, subscribe, share, do all the things, drive the algorithm. When this is beneficial for you, let us know. We want to engage with you in the comments. Let's have the conversation. On behalf of Mike Laverty, this is Jake Clendenning. Your time to go disrupt.